A new right back could be the target for Manchester United this summer. But listen, Delo being a decent right back, but I don't think he is what we need going forward. Now, I'm not saying United are going to initially replace him, but there has been talks about a new fullback coming in. So in this video, we'll talk about three right backs that I have identified, and we'll have a conversation about them. So let's get into it. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. But yeah, I do think we need someone who's just a little bit better than Delo, can offer that bit more going forward, a bit more defensively stable. And the first option that I've identified is Tottenham's Pedro Porro. Now, initially, a lot of people may disagree with this and say, why are you going for Pedro Porro? But let's look at him in a bit more detail. He's 26 years of age. He's had a few years at Spurs, 3 or 4 seasons. And again, if Spurs, at the moment, they're looking like they're going to be relegated, he can definitely be a candidate. He is 26 years of age. So again, not at kind of the worst age in his career. I think it's a similar age to Dalot. But I think Porro is a better player. He's an elite crosser into the box. Like, the amount of crosses he puts in is ridiculous, averaging over 1.5 crosses per game. So it's something that is really, really important. Delo might put in a few good crosses, but if you're looking at Porro's delivery from left and right hand side, it's very, very good. Now, as I said, Spurs going down could have a huge chance. He'd be someone I'd actually go and get immediately if Spurs were to get relegated. You'll be able to pick him up from cheap. Yes, he does have a contract until 2028, but he's someone who, for me as a right back, is better than Dalot. I think he's a very good player. He don't really get the props he deserves at Spurs. I don't know, is it because they're a poor team? But every time I watch him, yes, he does make the odd mistakes and he will get spun a few times. But if we're talking defensively, he's very, very good. And as I said, at 26 is the right age. You'll be able to get him for a decent price. Again, I think he has a contract until 2028, so again, that's something definitely to look at. So yeah, I think Porro can definitely be a viable option. I think he's someone who is better than Dalot. Is he better than Mazraoui? That's another question. But in terms of as a replacement for Dalot, I think he's someone who can definitely come in and do a steady job in their right back position. Now, a lot of people will probably laugh at that decision of me picking out Pedro Porro, but I think if you look at Premier League experience, you look at the age profile, look at the conditions he found himself in, the Spurs do get relegated, he does for me look like one of the smart buys in the Premier League for Manchester United, especially for cheap, because again, we're not going to be able to spend a lot of money in the transfer window on a right back. So someone who's cheap, got that experience, got that quality, he's definitely someone you can look at. But again, it's all case dependent on whether Diego Dalot leaves. Now, the next player I've identified is Brentford's Michael Kayode, one of the most important players, I'll say, for Brentford. He started every single game for them in the Premier League, only scored 1 goal. I think his long throws are absolutely exceptional, but he is still relatively young. He has a contract until 2030, and he signed for Brentford last summer in May 2025. Now, for me, I think he's someone who is still a raw talent, again, only being 21, but a lot of potential certainly there. He's someone who, for me, has shown a lot in such a short space of time in the Premier League. He's very good defensively, and again, he's not too bad defensively either. Again, the long throw that he has will add another weapon to United's set pieces ability. It's obviously going to be better than Dalot's. It's probably the best that we've seen in the Premier League, or if not in world football. In terms of his ability, as I said, he's very, very quick. He's aggressive. He's powerful. Doesn't really put many crosses into the box, which is probably a weakness. But again, at still 21 years of age, that's something he can definitely improve on and develop. Defensively, as I said, every time you watch Brentford, he's very, very good for them. And he is a constant threat on that right-hand side. I think he's someone who, again, came in from Fiorentina, adapted to the Premier League. And how many times are we going to say it about Brentford's recruitment? Absolutely fantastic recruitment again. So, yeah, he's someone who, again, Brentford probably wouldn't want to let go as well, because they've only just signed him. They will probably find an adequate replacement. But again, I just think 1 season in, maybe he is too inexperienced. But we've seen it before. United sign a young right back from one of those mid-table Premier League clubs. And I'm not saying this is a similar situation to Wan-Bissaka, but again, I could very see that happening with him still being relatively young. So I still think he needs a few more years of development, but maybe in one of those 2 seasons, I will definitely look at him. And I think that it will be to a lot of other clubs. You look at sort of the players that Brentford have sold over the years. You look at Mbeumo to Manchester United. Ivan Toney was fantastic. Ollie Watkins. They have Igor Thiago now. Like, they've got a ridiculous sort of scouting department, and they will Wissa as well. They will sell players for a lot of money. So Kayode will probably be the next one in terms of as an actual right back. I think he's very, very good. Again, Brentford would probably want 50-60 million for him, which again does kind of put out a move for United in the summer. But he is definitely an option. maybe 1 or 2 seasons, I'd definitely consider selling, because when you do watch him, his first season in the Premier League, it's been absolutely fantastic, and that long throw is class. Now, lastly, Daniel Munoz. Now, he is more on the experience side, being 29 years of age. Obviously, Palace are going through a lot of changes at the moment. They're going to lose their manager. They lost their captain. A lot of their key players are likely to leave. I think with Munoz, the concern would just be his age. The fact that he's 29. Do United go and sign a wing back? He is essentially, that is 29 years of age. That is another concern. He mainly operates as a wing back. And when I talked about the left back situation, DeMarco was one that was mentioned, but again, he is predominantly a wing back as well. That's the concern with Munoz. I think for the Amorim system, and I know we should have mentioned it, but he would absolutely be perfect for it. I think he is a very good player attacking wise, does chip in with a few goals, gets a few assists, offensively very, very good, defensively quite sound as well, has a few years left on his deal as well at Palace. But again, United, if you want to go and get a Palace right back, he is the one to go and get, and I think he's someone who has got a lot of experience, a lot of quality, and I think he's someone who at 29 maybe will give you 1 or 2, potentially 3 years. I think Munoz, out of the 3 that I've mentioned, is probably the best out of the 3, but is he the most suited to Manchester United? And that's something that we have to look at. But yeah, there have been 3 right backs I think Manchester United should sign. I think we definitely need to be looking at right backs this summer. I think Dalot, he has his limitations, and he has been good for United this season, but I think going forward long term we do need better. And with Mazraoui being 28 and not getting any younger, is it time for Manchester United to bring in potential right back? Let me know your thoughts. Now, we'll probably do a part 2. There's a few other names that I want to talk about, that I will probably talk about in a separate video. But yeah, there have been 3 players. I did it with a left back, I've done it with central midfielders, I've done it with a right back. If there's any other positions, let me know in the comments. But yeah, who should Manchester United sign? As I said, I think Coyote has the best potential, obviously him being the youngest. But I think for me the most complete is probably Daniel Munoz. Porro, again though, he's probably the most targetable and the one that United can get, since Spurs may be getting relegated, and he has been talks about him potentially leaving them in the first place anyway, but we will have to wait and see.